Imagine stepping into a crowded room. People are already talking, laughter echoes from one corner, a debate flares in another. You don't say a word, yet within moments eyes start shifting toward you. Conversations slow down. The energy tilts in your direction. You haven't spoken. You haven't raised a hand. Still, somehow, you've taken control. This is what I call silent power, the ability to dominate a room, command respect, and shape the atmosphere without uttering a single word. It's not magic, and it's not about intimidation. It's about presence. It's about mastering the signals most people overlook, the cues that run beneath speech, guiding how others react, even when they're not aware of it. Most of us think power comes from speaking louder, arguing better, or always having the right thing to say. But real influence often begins in silence. Think of the leaders, the generals, the CEOs, or even that one classmate back in school who didn't speak much but carried an aura that made others pay attention the moment they walked in. Their secret wasn't endless chatter. It was their ability to own space without words. The truth is, people are wired to respond to silent cues. From the way you stand, to where your eyes land, to how long you pause before moving, every little signal broadcasts status. And whether you realize it or not, others are constantly reading you, judging your confidence, and deciding if you're the type they should follow or ignore. This video isn't about becoming a loud alpha, shouting to dominate, or playing the clown to steal attention. Instead, I'll walk you through the timeless tactics of controlling a room silently. These are tactics rooted in psychology, body language, and human nature. They're subtle, but when mastered, they allow you to shift dynamics in your favor without ever having to strain your voice. By the end of this video, you'll know how to walk into any space, whether it's a meeting, a party, or a negotiation, and quietly bend the energy toward you. People will feel your presence before they hear your voice. So, let's strip away the noise, step into the silence, and uncover the hidden strategies of controlling a room without saying a word. The first and most powerful weapon of silent control is presence. Before you've shaken a hand or opened your mouth, the room has already made a judgment about you. Humans are wired to scan newcomers instantly. Are you a threat, a leader, someone to ignore? These judgments happen in the blink of an eye, and they're almost impossible to reverse. That's why your entrance is everything. When you walk into a room, don't rush. People who hurry and signal nervousness or insecurity, as if they're apologizing for taking up space. Instead, move at a deliberate pace, and hurried, but purposeful. Every step tells others how much authority you believe you deserve. Think of a king entering his hall, or a CEO stepping into a boardroom. They never look like they're in a hurry to prove themselves. Neither should you. Next, posture. Straight spine, shoulders back, chin level, not tilted too high, which looks arrogant, and not dropped too low, which looks timid. A balanced posture broadcasts quiet confidence. It says, "I belong here," without you having to utter a syllable. People unconsciously mirror what they sense. If you project grounded confidence, others will treat you as someone worth noticing. Eye contact is another key. Not darting glances, not frantic scanning, but calm, steady observation. The person who scans nervously looks like prey. The one who lingers too intensely looks aggressive. But the one who allows their eyes to move with calm intention, settling on faces, holding for a beat, then moving on, becomes the unspoken center of gravity. You don't have to smile immediately, nor frown. Just let your gaze rest on the room as though you're assessing it, weighing it, and comfortable doing so. This subtle act makes others unconsciously wait for your approval. There's also the art of stillness. In a world where people fidget, check their phones, or shift weight nervously, stillness is magnetic. Stand with a calm frame, hands relaxed, not constantly adjusting your clothes or tapping your foot. The person who controls their body silently signals that they can control the environment around them. And people notice whether consciously or not. Clothing, too, is part of silent presence. It's not about dressing the loudest, but about dressing intentionally. Colors, textures, and fits that complement you speak volumes before you ever say a word. Subtle sharpness always carries more weight than desperate flamboyance. The goal is to look like someone who knows themselves and doesn't need to beg for attention. The silent first impression is like setting the stage. From that point onward, people interact with you through the filter you've created. If you've entered with calm control, you'll be treated as someone of influence. And remember, once presence is established, the room bends around it. Presence doesn't end with your entrance. Once you're in the room, the way you use space silently dictates how others perceive your status. Humans are territorial creatures. We instinctively respect those who appear to control more territory, even if no words are exchanged. Think about it. The person pressed against the wall, arms crossed tightly, seems like an outsider. Meanwhile, the one who occupies the center with relaxed posture, legs slightly apart, hands free, and gestures broad but not frantic, this person seems to belong. People gravitate toward them because their body language radiates authority. The trick is subtlety. You don't need to sprawl arrogantly or take over like a bully. Instead, make small adjustments that signal control. Place your belongings like a notebook, glass, or bag where it claims space naturally. Lean back slightly in your chair instead of curling forward. Stand tall in group conversations, keeping your shoulders open. These micro behaviors quietly establish that you are comfortable and dominant in the environment. Now let's talk about gestures. The most powerful gesture you can make in silence is actually the absence of constant movement. Nervous people over-gesture, filling every silence with fidgeting. Powerful people conserve motion. When you do move, a slow nod, a deliberate hand placement, a shift in stance, it carries weight precisely because it's rare. You teach others to pay attention by rationing your movements. Mirroring is another dynamic tool. Without speaking, you can build instant rapport by subtly reflecting the posture of someone else. If they lean slightly back, you lean back too after a few moments. If they cross one leg, you eventually do the same. Done subtly, this signals alignment and creates unconscious trust. But the masterstroke comes when you break the mirroring. Once you've synchronized and someone sees you as like them, you then shift to a posture of calm authority, and often they will follow. One overlooked aspect of body language is direction. Where your body points is where your attention seems to flow, and people read it instinctively. Pointing your torso and feet towards someone signals importance. Angling slightly away signals dismissal, without uttering a word. You can elevate someone's value in the group or diminish it simply by how your body faces. Leaders often control the hierarchy in a room with nothing more than these silent turns. There's also the strategic use of space gaps. Don't crowd people, but don't shrink either. Maintaining comfortable distance signals that you respect your own boundaries and expect others to respect them too. Those who collapse their personal space seem needy. Those who guard it without defensiveness seem self-assured. The difference is subtle, but the effect is powerful. In silence, your body is always speaking. It's telling others whether you're prey or predator, follower or leader, outsider or center of gravity. When you master space and body dynamics, you don't just exist in the room, you own it. Most people fear silence. They rush to fill it with chatter, nervous laughter, or unnecessary explanations. But here's the paradox. Silence is often the loudest statement you can make. The person comfortable with silence immediately gains power. Because They demonstrate control over something others find unbearable. Think of a negotiation. One side makes an offer, the other side hesitates, and instead of responding right away, they let the silence stretch. The air thickens. The offer maker grows uncomfortable and begins justifying, backtracking, or even lowering their terms, all because they couldn't handle the quiet. Silence, in this context, isn't emptiness, it's pressure. And the one who wields it controls the pace of the interaction. In a room full of people, silence works the same way. When someone asks you a question and you pause before answering, you signal two things. First, that you don't feel rushed or pressured. Second, that your words, when they come, will be considered and valuable. The pause makes people lean in, waiting. You've just turned the act of saying nothing into a magnet. There's also the silence of listening. Most people think influence comes from speaking the most, but often it comes from listening the deepest. When you listen without interrupting, eyes steady, posture open, reactions controlled, you make the speaker feel seen. In turn, they grant you respect and often unconsciously defer to your authority. While others are fighting to speak, you're winning by being the calm, silent anchor everyone gravitates toward. Another layer of silence is in reactions. Imagine someone tells a joke that isn't funny or tries to provoke you. The average person laughs nervously or snaps back. The powerful person, they hold silence. They let the failed joke die in the air. They let the insult hang, unacknowledged. This lack of reaction is devastating because it denies the other person validation. Silence becomes a shield, but also a blade it cuts without effort. Group settings also reveal the weight of silence. When conversations overlap and noise dominates, the one who stays composed, observing, often becomes the unspoken leader. Why? Because in a sea of noise, calmness feels like stability. People are drawn toward what grounds them. And when you finally do break the silence, even with a single sentence or a subtle comment, it lands heavier than 100 words spoken by others. Finally, silence paired with stillness multiplies its power. Imagine holding eye contact, leaning slightly forward, and saying nothing while someone fumbles for words. The effect is electrifying. They'll either scramble to fill the gap or break under the weight of your quiet presence. You've dominated without moving your lips. In the end, silence is not emptiness, it's space. And the one who controls space controls the room. Master silence, and you'll master the unseen currents that guide human interaction. If the body is the stage, the face is the spotlight. Even when you're not speaking, your face is in constant motion, broadcasting signals that others pick up subconsciously. Control your face, and you control the story people tell themselves about you. The first rule, neutral is powerful. Most people wear their emotions openly, smiling nervously, raising brows to high, letting their lips twitch with every thought. This kind of leakage signals insecurity. The person of silent power practices a neutral, composed expression, not cold or robotic, but calm and unreadable. When others can't instantly decode what you're thinking, they lean in closer, searching. You become a puzzle, and puzzles attract attention. Now, consider the micro smile. A full grin can make you look overeager, even desperate for approval. But the slightest upward curl at the corner of your mouth, held for just a moment, suggests inner confidence, even amusement. It's the expression of someone who knows something others don't. Used sparingly, it creates intrigue. People feel your presence not as noise, but as mystery. The eyes are where most authority is won or lost. Darting eyes broadcast weakness. Narrowed eyes, on the other hand, risk aggression. The sweet spot is steady, relaxed gaze. Look at people directly, but let your eyes rest, not challenge. In group settings, you can hold eye contact with one person longer than usual, then shift slowly to another. Without speaking, you've made both feel singled out, seen, even measured. It's a subtle way of placing yourself above the interaction. Micro-expressions of disapproval are equally powerful. A small head tilt, a brief tightening around the lips, or a slow blink can silence a room faster than any raised voice. People fear being judged, and when you communicate judgment silently, you trigger deep instincts. The trick is not to overuse this. Too much disapproval makes you look bitter. But occasional controlled signals remind others of your authority without a word spoken. Equally important is the absence of reaction. If someone tries to provoke you, say, with a sarcastic comment, the average person laughs awkwardly or fires back. The face of authority doesn't change. A calm, unreadable expression in the face of provocation flips the script. Suddenly, the aggressor looks insecure, and you remain untouchable. Finally, remember that stillness on the face amplifies stillness in the body. Together, they create an aura of command. The one who doesn't flinch, doesn't twitch, doesn't perform, they draw the most attention, because humans instinctively respect those who don't scramble for approval. Your face is your billboard. Keep it calm, controlled, and deliberate, and the room will hang on your silence more than on anyone else's noise. Every room has a rhythm. People talk over each other, laughter bursts in waves, movement creates invisible currents. Most people are swept into this rhythm unconsciously. They laugh when others laugh, speak when there's a gap, move when the energy shifts. But the person who controls a room without speaking does something different. They set their own rhythm and make others bend to it. Energy begins with breathing. Shallow, rapid breaths feed tension and jittery behavior. Deep, steady breathing slows the body, anchors the mind, and radiates calm. When you walk into a room breathing deeply and evenly, people feel it even if they can't explain why. Your calm rhythm disrupts their nervous energy, and instinctively, they sync with you. That's silent leadership at its core. Movement is another rhythm cue. If the room is buzzing with frantic gestures and shifting bodies, your stillness becomes magnetic. Conversely, if the room is tense and frozen, a single slow movement from you, a deliberate turn of the head, a steady step forward breaks the spell and pulls attention. You don't match the rhythm, you regulate it. Like a conductor guiding an orchestra, your pace sets the tone others follow. There's also the rhythm of attention. Watch how people distribute theirs: short bursts, quick nods, scattered glances. You, on the other hand, can extend focus, holding your gaze on an object or person a second longer than normal shifts the tempo of interaction. People begin to anticipate your next move. They slow down to match you without realizing it. Energy also comes from contrast. A room full of noise feels chaotic, but your calm energy becomes a lighthouse. A quiet room feels heavy, but your subtle warmth, a small smile, a gentle nod becomes a release valve. Control isn't about matching the room's energy. It's about regulating it so people look to you as the anchor. Charismatic figures throughout history understood this instinctively. Think of leaders who could step onto a stage and silence a crowd before speaking. They weren't louder or more frantic than everyone else. They carried a rhythm of certainty, an aura that told people, "Follow me." This aura is nothing mystical. It's the byproduct of controlled breath, deliberate movement, and intentional attention. When you master energy and rhythm, you stop being a participant in the room, you become its metronome. People speed up or slow down to match you. They lean in when you want them to, or relax when you allow it. And the most astonishing part, you never had to open your mouth. Aura isn't about what you project loudly, it's about what you control quietly. Breath, stillness, pace, and presence weave together into a rhythm others can't resist. That's how you turn silence into influence. Up to now, we've explored presence, space, silence, expressions, and energy. But the real test of silent power isn't one-on-one, it's how you handle a group, because in groups, hierarchy is always forming. People are unconsciously deciding who's at the top, who follows, and who fades into the background. The person who can control that hierarchy without speaking becomes unforgettable. The first tactic is strategic positioning. In a group, don't hover at the edges. Position yourself where you can be seen by most, ideally central but not desperate. If seated, choose the spot where you can observe everyone. People naturally defer to the one with the widest view. By simply choosing your spot carefully, you signal leadership without a word. Second, use the power of selective attention. In groups, everyone fights for acknowledgement. You don't have to talk to grant or deny it. A calm glance, a small nod, or a deliberate pause before looking away elevates some voices and diminishes others. The person you acknowledge gains weight in the group. The one you withhold from feels smaller, with nothing but your gaze. You sculpt the hierarchy. Third, understand the weight of entry and exit. When you join a group conversation, don't interrupt, stand or sit with deliberate composure, as though your mere presence is contribution enough. People will adjust to you, shifting their energy toward your orbit. When you exit, don't slink away. Depart with calm certainty, as though you leave on your terms. A strong exit leaves a lasting imprint, reminding the group who set the tone. Finally, the silent leader never scrambles for attention. In fact, they allow others to fight for the spotlight by observing calmly, reacting minimally, and moving deliberately. They create the paradox of influence. The less they try to dominate, the more the group defers to them. People are drawn to stability, and silent power radiates exactly that. So, how do you put all of this together? You walk into the room with calm presence. You own space with subtle body language. You wield silence like a weapon, letting it bend conversations. You master your face, using micro-expressions as signals. You control energy with rhythm and breath. And in groups, you regulate dynamics with nothing more than where you stand, how you look, and when you choose to move. The end result, you become the unspoken center. The one everyone looks at without knowing why. The one whose silence makes more impact than others' noise. And here's the truth: in a world obsessed with shouting, bragging, and over-explaining, the rarest power is the ability to influence quietly, to walk into any room and command it without saying a word. So the next time you enter a room, remember, your silence isn't weakness, it's your strongest voice. If you found this valuable, make sure to subscribe for more insights on psychology, influence, and power. And if you're ready, start practicing today. Step into silence, own the space, and watch the room fall under your control.